5 days away. 5, that's right, from the first NBA teams reporting for Media Day and training camp. Teams, remember, that are traveling internationally for preseason. They will arrive early, followed by the rest of the league. They will join them on September 29th. Actual NBA games? Officially, we are 2 weeks away from preseason hoops. I know. They're going to tip off with the Sixers facing the Knicks. That's in Abu Dhabi. Some big questions about those teams and many more. So we thought, as training camp approaches, it's time to ask the most pressing questions to our reporters. So joining us now is Tim McMahon and Dave McMenamin. Let's start with Dallas here, Tim. There's a lot of questions for this Mavericks squad, even after the busy summer they had. A couple of storylines that we've been following here for the Mavs. Of course, they drafted a franchise cornerstone in Cooper Flagg at the #1 spot. They re-signed Kyrie Irving. They brought in D'Angelo Russell as his replacement, maybe while he rehabs that knee. And then Dallas also extended P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. So that's a lot of housekeeping there, but still a lot of questions remain. What are you going to be asking when you head into training camp?
The biggest question about the Mavericks going into this season won't be answered for a while, and that's when will Kyrie be able to return? He's hoping it can be as early as January. And when will he be back to his level? He was performing at an all-NBA level last season. Can he get back to that at some point this season going into the playoffs, for a team that desperately needs his scoring and creating ability? And obviously there's a lot of other questions. Anthony Davis, he's coming off of retina surgery. Is he fully ready to roll going into training camp, going into the season? It is his team right now, despite the fact that, hey, they did draft this generational talent after falling arse backwards into the #1 overall pick. That's the Disney-fied version. And I'm talking, of course, about Cooper Flagg. What exactly can we expect out of an 18-year-old kid coming into the season? And what position will he be playing? He played a lot of point guard in Summer League. Jason Kidd has a history. He put the ball in Giannis's hands when Giannis was a young player and said, spread your wings. Can he do that? Will he do that with Cooper Flagg playing on a team surrounded by veteran future Hall of Famers that has aspirations to be a playoff team that can do some damage this season?
Yeah, when I spoke to Jason Kidd at Summer League in Las Vegas, he said, I plan to put the ball in Cooper Flagg's hands a whole lot. This is a team that has expectations, Shanae, knowing that you're trusting a rookie with those ball handling duties. How far do you think this team can go with all those questions hanging over them?
I think they can stay in the mix.
Yep.
The West is getting better, and I do believe that Kyrie Irving, maybe getting him back towards the end of the season, buying him time. He's a veteran, so he'll know how to handle that process the best. I think making sure that Cooper has some initiating ball handling duties, but also making sure that D'Lo is the one probably more often than not.
Right. And that's the questions that Tim is going to be asking heading into this training camp, which brings us to the Los Angeles Lakers, because the highlight of the Lakers offseason was probably agreeing to a 3-year max extension with Luka. It'll keep him with Los Angeles until at least the 2028-29 season. And then LeBron, this was very interesting. He picked up his $52.6 million player option. He now can become an unrestricted free agent next year. And then the Lakers, they signed DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia. So, Dave, the Lakers come into every season with only one goal, and that is to win a championship. But what is the biggest question to you that you're going to be asking when you go into training camp?
Malika, so long as LeBron James is in the NBA, I'm going to start my attention wondering what time he has left. And so let's start with the temperature take of LeBron. Obviously, when he opted into his last year with the Lakers, Rich Paul issued a statement to Shams Charania, which opened up the door for speculation as to how much longer this partnership between LeBron and the Lakers would last. I need to find out how things are going between him and the team, and we're going to find that out shortly. Also, I want to know, it's been a minute since guys like DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart were in winning situations in Phoenix and Boston. How much do they have left in the tank to bring towards the table for the day in, day out challenge that the Lakers have with the target on the back wherever they go around the league? And then Luka, we saw his commitment to his body, his transformed physique pay off in Eurobasket, having a historic run through that, almost averaging 35 points per game, the most a guy scored in Eurobasket since the 1980s. Can that translate as well to the NBA? And perhaps could this be the time he breaks through and wins his first league MVP?
Well, the Los Angeles Lakers, they were one of those top seeds in the Western Conference last year, but the Houston Rockets, they were the 2 seed that maybe had a little bit of a disappointing start to their playoffs last year. This year, the expectations are even higher, right? The The biggest move for the Rockets was trading for Kevin Durant, a top 10 scorer in NBA history, boosting an offense that was missing that go-to scorer, and that was really highlighted in that first-round matchup with the Golden State Warriors. They also extended Jabari Smith Jr., Fred VanVleet, Steven Adams, and they signed Finney Smith. That was a big loss for LA, and then also Clint Capella here. So Kevin Durant will certainly have an impact on this roster's team. But Tim, the most pressing questions, because you were covering all things Texas for us, for the Rockets is going to be what? Janae's listening carefully.
I think what is the commitment to Kevin Durant moving forward? As of right now, he has not signed a contract extension with the Rockets. I'm not saying that won't happen by media day. Maybe we'll get our answer before media day and there's an extension in place and okay, KD's going to be part of this for the next few years. But as of right now, Kevin Durant is going into the final year of his contract. He's eligible for a 2-year, $122 million extension. I do not anticipate that the number will be a max number. Can they find a middle ground? Those are the biggest questions. As far as his fit, his role, there was a glaring void for a go-to guy on that Rockets team. They overachieved in the regular season. That hole in their roster was exposed in the playoffs.
Yep.
Kevin Durant fills that hole.
Kevin Durant is going to address that. I want to get to one more team before I get your overarching thoughts here on the Western Conference, because Dave, in the playoffs, you were covering the Timberwolves, so I wanted to check in there. The Wolves, they kept their front court intact. They did re-sign Julius Randle, Naz Reid to 9-figure deals here. And then they also added to their front court by taking Yohan Beringer, 17th overall in the draft. Was that for my...
It's a fun name, Yohan Beringer. I like that.
But they didn't change much, right? Minnesota didn't change much, but their goals, they remain the same, and they are lofty to be able to overtake the Oklahoma City Thunder. What is the number one challenge for them this season as you are looking towards this roster, Dave?
Well, yes, we can say, Malika, that they are coming off back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances. But first, the biggest question for me is, was last year's run through the playoffs a mirage? At times last year, they looked dead in the water, and there was an awkward fit between Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. They were able to build momentum late in the season. They took out a Lakers team that had Luka Doncic going through an illness one of the games, and LeBron James suffered a knee injury. And then they took out a Warriors team that basically didn't have Steph Curry for the entire series. Are they really that close to a Western Conference finalist, or was what we saw a bit of circumstantial type of run for them last year? And then beyond that, they lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker to Atlanta. Chris Finch vowed after they lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals that he's going to play younger guys and to improve their depth. Are guys like Terrence Shannon Jr., Rob Dillingham, and Josh Minott, are they ready for this moment? Are they primetime players ready to produce and get this team back to the level it was last year?
Okay, class has been in session. I took some notes, so I've got some feedback on Dallas. I think we know that they can play big. My curiosity is, can they play small? That'll be interesting. When it comes to the Houston Rockets, you don't make an NBA historic 7-team trade to not extend, so let's not fumble the bag there. LeBron James and Luka, every year we go in and say that, this is LeBron James' team no matter what he does. But LeBron has been trying to defer and say, hey, it's AD's team now it's truly Luka's team. I do think this is the year where they probably embrace it. And last but not least, I think the Timberwolves, it seems like the moves they made, which were not that many, they're sort of treading water. So I think it's going to be hard to repeat in the Western Conference Finals. So those are my after-hour notes.
Your
office hour notes.
Your office hour notes, not after-hour notes, or something completely different. We will get to those. Okay, video summer vacations. The question is, does any of it matter? Well, we're going to play a little something, nothing, or everything and tell you what we think. Because Steph Curry, we'll start there, entering year 17. This photo of Steph in the weight room, it has Warriors fans all fired up. Swole Steph. Something, nothing, or everything, Shanae.
That's more than swole stuff. Look, whenever you have a team that their only move they make in the offseason is one player walking out the door, Steph knows what's up. He's got to get the muscles up because he's going to have to put the team on his back once again. Look, I think this is something, or maybe it's not. I don't know. It's in the summer. It's in the season of summer bods. So maybe it's just a new trend.
Well, maybe we just drop the bicep routine. Shanae and I are, we're talking about how we need to get on the the push-up.
Come on, Tim, join us.
Yeah, there you go, Tim. Did you see this clip of Trae Young at the Oklahoma State Fair? We're not sure how many stuffed animals he walked away with. Dave actually won 2 at Six Flags the other day.
That's amazing, 'cause I've seen a jump shot.
No. I think they called this Hustlin' the Hustlers.
Yeah, that ain't fair.
Something, nothing, or everything.
I mean, it's something. Look, but it's not a surprise. I would never bet against Trae Young doing something basketball-related that does not require playing a lick of defense. He's in his element here. Come on now. What?
Moving on. SNY's Ian Begley reports that the Knicks, they're discussing whether or not to retire Carmelo Anthony's jersey, but the decision will, quote, ultimately be made by owner James Dolan. So, Dave, would Melo, go Cuse, getting his number 7 retired in Madison Square Garden? Would that be something, nothing, or everything?
I think it's everything. Obviously, James Dolan is a bit of a wild card, to put it mildly. But if you look at the body of work that Carmelo Anthony brought to that organization, the most points ever in a single game for anyone wearing a Knickerbocker uniform, number 7 all-time in total points, alongside the guys that we're so familiar with, the Patrick Ewings, the Dave DeBusches of the world. Everything put his number 7 up in the rafters.
I expected more energy from you, Dave,
He also
on that one.
used the government name, Knickerbocker.
Yeah, right.
Tyrese Halliburton's shot from Game 1 of the East Finals to force overtime. It will be remembered forever. I mean, ask Knicks superfan Spike Lee. The pair, they were together on the Old Man and the Three podcast, and Spike, he explained why that shot has affected his personal life. Take a look.
To this day, people come up to Reggie and I and say that we hate each other. How many years ago was that?
Well, 30?
A long time.
Yeah.
Even today, me and Reggie squashed that. It's been squashed. But you brought the back. We had that thing squashed, man, and it was dead, and you brought it alive.
You gotta love Spike there. Knicks Pacers, one of the best rivalries it has been, especially last season. I'm bummed we're not going to be able to see it at full health, full fruition this year. But before we take a look at Tyrese Halliburton back on the floor, is there another rivalry, Dave, that you think is the best in the NBA right now? Because that one could be it again when they're back and healthy.
Oh, we started this segment talking about the new physique of Steph Curry and LeBron James. It's simple. They are the two monolithic figures in today's game. 4 straight finals appearances about a decade ago. Anyone who tuned into Christmas Day last year can recognize they still make it must-see TV. And their rivalry is not a renewable resource. There's a limited amount of opportunities that we have left to see these two guys still battle it out. And so anytime the Warriors and Lakers are playing, you got to tune in. That's the best rivalry in today's NBA.
I mean, look, it's not even the best rivalry with the Lakers. Forget Steph's new physique. Steph's been in shape his whole career. Let's talk about Luka's new physique. Did you see the men's health coverage? Did you see that snug sweater he was wearing the other day? Looked all sleek. Luka against
nice
the Mavericks.
Sweater, okay.
And it was a nice sweater.
I thought the rivalry was Luka versus sweater. It's Luka versus
No.
Mavs.
The sweater and Luka are on the same page. Him and the Mavericks clearly were not. Him and Nico Harrison clearly were not. And look, the Mavericks are coming out here the day after Thanksgiving. The Lakers will be in Dallas in late January for the first time. And you remember when Luka went back last year? He lit him up something fierce. Standing ovation when he checked out, going right into fired Nico chants. It's a rivalry, but Mavericks fans are more on Luka's side than the home team.
What about the rivalry of the future? Because anytime you have the Spider-Man meme, right, going at you, it's good. I'm talking about Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren.
I love it.
That is the rivalry of the future. And I love it because they mimic each other in frame. They still got major game. I'm dropping some bars. But more importantly, these are guys that respectfully have animosity toward each other when they touch the floor. And it's not just domestically here in the NBA. It's also internationally. We can see this play out for Team USA versus Team France for the years to come. So I know that there are currently great rivalries with amazing generational stars, but the next ones are lined up, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, the rivalries are in good hands with these two, because in all of the friendly at times of the NBA right now, having a little bit of good old-fashioned smoke and competition between those two young stars. Clippers tenure, and he joins us right here on NBA Today. Baxter, really, you detail in your story that this isn't the first time that the league has had questions about Kawhi Leonard, about his health, about his business dealings. But this one with aspiration, it is a little bit different. Why?
Yeah, certainly. A former Clippers staffer pointed out to me quite clearly that this is the first thing that they've dealt with that calls into the character of the owner, Steve Ballmer. Now, they've dealt with lawsuits, they've dealt with fines, they've dealt with other NBA investigations, but this is different because it goes all the way to the top of the organization. And then also, if you consider that the allegation of circumventing the cap, that's considered like, a cardinal sin of the NBA. It's different than not being maybe transparent on injury reports or things like that. So that's how it's different.
So there's a lot in your story, but I think the crux maybe that viewers need to know is there are several sources, and you interview more than 24, who point to the fact that it may be time for, as they say, the Clippers to get out of the Kawhi business. That's what they said to you.